I'm on slum, I gotta give it a go, yeah. I gotta grind, working for money in the door, yeah. Stop wasting time, you wasting your time, bro.
Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Jalo Juice with
Ishya.
And today we're going to be talking about our faith, some of the similarities, some differences that we have in our faith. I'm a Christian, she is
Hindu.
And I'm going to let you start off asking me some things about my faith.
Yeah, I had questions for you. We've talked about religion a little bit off camera and how important it is to both of us. And I had questions for you. So, my first question for you was, did you grow up religious and was it part of your household?
Yeah, I kind of say that, if I get some background, most of my family are Muslims. My mom and dad both from West Africa. And I remember going to, we pronounce it wrong. We say like the Arabic school, where they have like, they speak in Arabic and they praying and doing things like this. But for me as a kid, I was so young, I was just having fun there. So I would say that, I remember growing up having some type of faith base in my life. But as I got older, I believe that God was calling me to be a Christian because he placed Christian people in my life. And that's when I gave my life to Jesus.
And how does your family feel about that?
In Sierra Leone is a country that both of my parents are from. Like, we're like one of the few countries where Christians and Muslims live in peace with each other. And we kind of have some memes popping up about us. It's like some people would say like, oh, Merry Christmas, like to Muhammad or something like this. You know what I mean? Because they don't really care so much. So it's like, oh, you're Christian. They think that it's the same God. But some people will say that, but I don't think so. We don't have the same God.
Okay. All right. I didn't know that about you. You haven't mentioned it before. So, you chose to be Christian.
Yeah. In a way, I'll say that God chose me, but yeah.
That makes sense.
But I chose, that's the path that I chose.
How do you stay religious?
How do I stay religious?
Yeah, in your religion.
Yeah, I think most Christians, we wouldn't use the term that we are religious. We would say that we are followers of Christ. And the way that I believe that we do this is by, going to church communities and being around other Christian people. But first of all, you gotta have your personal relationship with God. And, you pray to him, you talk to him like he's a human being right here next to you. And then, of course, if you love him, you obey his commandments, which is the hardest thing for us to do. And that's why we needed Jesus.
Yeah.
But I would say that.
Okay. Yeah, that was going to be my next question. How do you see, like, your religion in your daily life? Like, what practices do you have?
Yeah, so, like, right now, what I'm doing for myself is tonight I'm going to go meet with some Christian folks. They call it student mission. Then on Sundays, I choose one day of the week that I do my Sabbath, If you don't know what that is, it's like a holy day that you just give to God. And the true Sabbath day is on Saturday, but other Christians, they celebrate on Sunday because that's the day that Jesus rose from the grave. And they choose that to make that their Sabbath. And just generally speaking, you can just choose a day. Don't quote me on this, but I just know that Sabbath is just a holy day. Some people choose to pick any day out of the week they want to do, and they just dedicate that day to God. And the way that I chose to do that is, I turn off my phone, not completely off, but sometimes on Do Not Disturb or just on airplane mode. Listen to some worship music, go to the gym, listen to a sermon or a podcast about God, and sometimes I take notes, sometimes I don't, and call somebody in my family.
Okay, that's very nice. Do you do I don't know if the correct term is Bible study?
Yeah.
Do you do that?
Yeah, I do that sometimes. I would say like tonight is kind of a Bible study. They do worship, then we read some scriptures and we discuss them with one another. But I have some other friends out here that we used to meet on Zoom because I was in Spain at one point, and we'll have those Bible studies, and sometimes we'll have them in person.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
I have a friend who does independent Bible study, and this person, he like before going to sleep reads the Bible and then internalizes whatever is on it. I also have like this one family member in the States. She's like not that religious, but it was part of her community to have like Bible studies, like proper sessions and meetings with her friends or whoever is like guiding her.
Yeah.
But that's very nice. That's very nice. So do you feel like you have a community here?
I would say now I do, and I would say at first I didn't at all, because I was making more excuses. I just wanted to live the sinful life and just have fun. Then when I did try to seek out for God, actually I did before here in Finland, and I went to some Finnish speaking church, and they just had like some weird energy. And not that I came to the church and they were just like preaching, they were just like ask somebody to pray for me, because I just felt like I needed prayer because I'm living a life that I know I shouldn't be living. And the guy was like, weird, we don't do something like this, and it was just completely weird, and it just did not feel Christian at all. It didn't feel loving, that our holy book teaches to have.
Like accepted.
Yeah, I don't think it was racist or nothing like that, so I wouldn't even pull the race card, but it just was just a weird vibe. But
maybe it was English.
Yeah, I think so. I think it probably was.
Because they probably don't know the words in English.
Yeah, he probably was a little lost. He was a bit older too.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. That
could be. Where was this?
I think it was just the Hundu, like the station road. It's on like the road that's where S Market is on. But
so still in Vasa.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Asamakatu.
Yeah.
Yeah, that street.
Okay, that's close. Kind of.
Yeah.
All right. I had a question about religion in your future. So, how would you want your religious journey to be like in the future, and what are you going to do towards that?
Yeah, 100%. I pray to God that I'm married then, and I would like to be involved in some type of ministry. And I don't need to be doing something completely big.
Yeah.
I can be the person that just helping move something around in the church. That don't sound so much like ministry, but just as long as I can make something easy. Like I would go as low as something like that, because it's not glorifying to, when you say I want to do like something in ministry, like you think that you got to be preaching or evangelism or something like that, which I think we should be doing that regardless. Evangelizing is telling people about our faith. But what I would like to, if it was a perfect world, I would like to be doing something in sports ministry, like Christian athletes. And
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, they have. I remember when I was growing up, we have something called FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes. That's something they have in America, and it's big around the globe right now. So
what type of Christians are there?
Like denomination?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
To be honest, I think I don't know if it matters for the denomination. I just think that if you're a believer in God and you're a Christian, believer in God, they, have gatherings for you guys. And then after school, like mainly it's an after school thing that we had in high school.
Yeah.
And, in America, we don't shy away from allowing people to practice religion.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially Christianity.
That's true. It's also very like common. I think it's the most common religion probably, or is it just no religion?
For sure,
secular?
For sure in America,
Yeah, because in Finland, although like in legal registrations, people are Christian, like Lutheran Christian.
Yeah. I
think a lot of people are secular, so they don't really believe in God. I think I would say majority of them, or they don't have an opinion on it. So yeah, it's not very. I don't think it's like super practiced. The most Christian thing that I believe Finnish people do is like get married in church and pay taxes.
Tax,
yeah, to the church. Yeah, church tax.
Yeah.
Do they have that in America?
No, we don't. I think.
But how do you fund the church?
It's more like I think the church tax is more like a Catholic thing, and like Lutherans, they're not Catholic, but they have a similar traditions of Catholic. So they do very similar things, but in America, we don't pay church taxes.
So it's based on like charity?
No, so it's pretty much, because here in Finland, it's more connected to like if you was to die, you know, they provide those things because you belong to them. You know, I think like that's a Catholic business way of doing things. But in America, for example, if you and I went to the same church, they have an offering, you know, they walk around with a plate and they steal your money.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding, they don't steal your money, but you just pay, you know, 10% of your
Good,
income.
we got that on camera, by the way. Please quote this guy.
Nah, they don't steal your money. They just ask you, like, you get any 50s? Get any 100s? Yeah, put that thing right in his hat. Nah, I'm kidding, but that's just how it goes. So, and you just tie it to the church that you got baptized in.
Okay. All right. And probably whoever you're going to marry is going to be Christian? Or
100%.
Okay.
100%.
So they have to be the same religion as you.
Have to be.
And your children?
My children, I'm going to teach them in the way of my faith. And I pray to God that they don't leave it, you know. If they do depart, they come back, you know. But, you know, I always think about these things because I understand that you try to, when you put religion in your house, and some of those kids, they want to be rebellious because they just want to see, like, what's on the other side of the road.
Yeah.
Something that looks fun over there.
Yeah.
That club, everything over there, that look like fun. Everybody's doing it. Why not me? And it's going to be hard to show them away from it because we know our human flesh that sinful things are fun, you know. It tastes good, but it has some consequences to it, you know. It's not the way that I believe that we should be living.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, like, yeah, I'm gonna raise my kids Christian, and with the help of my wife and the community around us.
But wouldn't you say, to play devil's advocate, wouldn't you say that practically your kids have the freedom to choose whatever religion because you chose different than your parents? Yeah,
for sure. I mean, I just don't think it was pressure, you know, on us to do it. And also, like, my mom and dad, they split when I was born. So it wasn't like my dad was the household figure of making this happen. And a lot of it, for some of my family members, it seems like, you know, the Islam faith was more of just culture to them because, you know, I was born this way, this is what I am. You know, it's not like something that they feel hardcore about. You know, they do the Ramadan, you know, when they fast and during that time, but outside of that, they don't continue to practice it in the same way.
Yeah. I got what you're saying.
But for my children, though, 100%, I will make them come to church. Yeah,
okay.
I'm gonna make them come to church. I'm gonna make them do things. They're in my house. You know, it's my rules. And,
makes sense.
And then at some point, I'm gonna say to them, you know, as their test, you know, it's like, hey, at this point, or maybe when they move out the house, like, you're free to do whatever you want. I'm not gonna make you do whatever, you know, because I can't shield them forever.
Yeah, that's true. Would you say, this is probably my last question to you, would you say you are a stronger believer because you chose the faith, or would you say someone who's born into it is stronger?
That's a really good question. But I would say the person who chose, because it's so easily, and I actually met some people a few weeks ago who were, like, raised in, like, a Christian household, and they didn't become a Christian until later on in their life. And some people think, and they get confused. Well, this is why I ask questions about other people's religions, because I'm gonna ask you the same question, like, how do you become a Muslim? How do you become a Hindu or things like this? Because we have our process of how we become a Christian.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's about not only just knowing the knowledge, it's about you accept God into your life and you ask for the forgiveness of your sins. And so I would say the person that chose. And it's also interesting to think about as well, because I see this oftentimes, some people who didn't come from, you know, a Christian faith background household, those are the ones who seem to be, you know, really stronger in their faith because they met God a little bit later in their life and they just so more obsessed with it because it's something that's so new to them and it's something that they understand now. While the other ones who grew up since they was a baby, they've been knowing about God. It almost seemed like culture too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would say when you choose something, it's just more relevant to you. It's just more important to you. So I would also agree with you on that. Yeah. Those were my questions.
Yeah.
Thank you for answering.
No, of course. I'm gonna blend in some of your questions though. You know, you
Okay.
asked me, did I grow up religious? Did you grow up religious?
I didn't grow up religious, but I was around religion. Like Indian culture and Hinduism, they're very mixed together. So religion is part of my culture. So it was around me all the time. And like my parents asked me to do things like certain prayers or participate in certain, like, we have these like prayer meetings. And I was part of it, yes, but I don't know if I believed. Then I would say in 2021 is, so 3 years ago, I started believing on my own. So
2021,
yeah, so I chose to believe in it, and I feel like now it's way stronger than the past how many ever years that I was around religion, because now I choose to be religious.
Yeah. So you set it up to you set it up for me to ask my first question. Oh my goodness. Long day at school today.
It's okay.
So how does one become Hindu?
I don't believe there's like a... I think in Christianity you get baptized.
Some will say this, but I will answer how you become a Christian.
Okay.
After you answer how you become Hindu.
Okay. There is no like ceremony to become Hindu, I think. You just need to practically accept that you want to become one, and then you start reading the holy books and practicing what Hinduism preaches, and then you live like that, and then you say you're Hindu. I don't think there's any like ceremony to it.
Okay. Yeah, so like Christians, we, you know, the way that I grew up, like, you know, we have so many different denominations, and some people get frustrated and say, oh, I don't want to believe in God because I believe different about this and that. But, you know, I grew up in more Baptist denomination, and the way that we go about it is that you accept Jesus Christ as your personal Savior, you ask Him to forgive you your sins, and you accept God into your life, and you become a Christian that way. Then, once you understand what it means to be a Christian, then you get baptized. You don't get baptized and now you're a Christian.
Yeah.
It's a ceremony of letting everyone know that you confess your faith, that you're a Christian.
Okay.
So that's why some people think like, oh, if you get baptized, that means you a Christian, you go to heaven when you die, and things like this. But that's not how we do it. But you mentioned that you guys had prayer meetings and things like this. That's a question that I wanted to know. Is like, how do you practice Hinduism?
It depends for each person. I would say in my family and how I practice it is we pray daily. My mom prays during the morning, and then at night I only pray during night. Usually it's because the morning you do it in front of a small temple that you set up at home.
Really?
Yeah.
How does that temple look like?
I can show you pictures later, but if you Google Hindu temple home, it looks like that. Okay. I have some like golden god figures at home, but I don't have a temple, so that's why I don't pray during the morning.
You say gods figures?
Gods. We have multiple gods.
Okay. How many gods do you guys have?
Very many. You can put a number on it, but the most known ones are like maybe 10.
Okay. Because
the gods arise from like lores and tales from our past, and then the more they are discovered, the more they're like made to be gods. But they're like 10 main ones. But so practically each family has or decides one or two main gods that they pray to. Then they live according to what those gods tell you how you should live accordingly. And my mom, she prioritizes like one of the main gods. I think maybe you've heard about the one who has an elephant head. It's like a thing.
These photos, yeah.
Yeah, and then another one, it's like god of like fertility or something like that. And my mom prioritizes those gods, so I've also prioritized those gods. And we have, for religious occasions, we have these prayer meetings, either within our family or with family friends who are also Hindu. And we practically just pray.
Do you guys sing at all?
Yeah, it's not really singing, but it's like, you know when you talk in a singing way?
Like,
I don't know what the term is.
It's like da, da, da,
Yeah, like that. Yeah, exactly like that. We do that.
I would like to hear one of your prayers.
I can't say it's not in our language. It's in an ancient script. It's called Sanskrit. You have to learn it by heart.
Okay, so it's more about repetition when you pray.
Yeah, for those prayer meetings, but the personal ones that you do daily, like the ones that I do at night, those are how I want it to kind of be. So I pray to God. Usually I say that I'm very grateful for today, for my life. Then I say things like, please protect my family, my mom. If there's something like a pressing issue at the moment, then I say, please help me guide through this issue. Please help me find like the path or the light, or please resolve this issue for me. It's like affecting me. And then whatever else I want to say, and then I say thank you.
Yeah.
And it's usually to a specific God that I say it to. And then my mom, she does the same, but then she also adds her, like, she says it in that ancient script.
Yeah.
She says like that thing. It's practically just thanking God.
You guys don't get jealous of each other?
No, I wouldn't say so, because they're meant for different things. There's like one or two that are like all knowing. Maybe they're like the most powerful ones.
Yeah, my God is a jealous God.
I understand. I know. I've heard this from.
He wants us. He don't want us worshiping any idols, no television, no human being.
I understand.
You know.
I've had friends tell me that practice different religions that it's ridiculous to have many gods, and I do understand how one might feel like maybe you're just wish-washy with it, you're just picking and choosing. But if you know exactly what that God stands for, why wouldn't you, choose? Like, for example, if you're having issues with fertility, you can worship a specific God for that. I think it works for me, so why wouldn't I, you know?
How does your God speak to you? Or does speak to you guys?
Honestly, I would say I see God when I'm in tough situations, because I feel like when I'm in a tough situation, I kind of, I'm panicking, I feel like shit, but I know that God has my back. I know I will get through it, and it's maybe my own will, but I know it was God behind me. I think that's like the most evidence I have that God is with me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And at night when I pray to God, I feel like He is listening. That's how I would say it.
This might be a little controversial, but is all your gods male, or are they? No. Some of them female?
Yeah.
Okay. And out of the 10 main ones, most of them male or female?
Male.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a traditional culture. So even though there are like goddesses, their culture is very traditional and the teachings are very traditional.
And you mentioned that you guys have a book that you guys read. Would you say it's like similar to a Bible? Does it have verses and things like this?
Yeah. The main one, it's a very, very old book. It's called the Vedas. It's very old. That's the main one. And then there's like newer testaments, or like testaments for different areas of life. Maybe like 3 more books, but the main one is that one. And it has like different verses for different things. The main teachings of Hinduism are charity, finding your authentic self, living in an ethical way, and giving to others. I think those are the main ones.
Yeah, most people, when they understand Hinduism, we think of karma. Yes. Can you explain karma from a Hindu perspective?
Okay, I am no expert, please don't quote me. But karma is the actions you do now will result to the next life you have. So you don't immediately go to heaven, you reincarnate. So let's say I was a really bad person right now. I'm gonna have a horrible life, my next life. And there's like 3 types of karma, I think. The one is like from your past, so all your karma from your past. Then the one that you are living right now, so what I'm living right now, my karma right now is what was in my previous life. I think it's pretty good then, because I'm living pretty good right now. And then whatever I'm doing now is how I'm gonna live in the future. So I hope it's gonna be okay. But practically, you go in this loop until your soul is liberated, and that happens when you've you've reached your authentic self. That differs for different people. You've been charitable in your life. What else was there? Like, you've lived in an ethical way. There are like certain teachings about how the main thing is charity. So as long as you're your authentic self and you've given to charity and you've lived a charitable life, you should be able to reach liberation, and then the karma cycle stops and you go to heaven.
You know, I always think about like this type of faith, you know, because it's different than mine. It's like a cool fairy tale story, you know. Because sometimes I have these thoughts in my head that I thought about, you know, some years ago. It's like, it'd be nice to die, to come back and be something else. To come back and be something else, you know. Then I used to think like, there's 7 continents. Like, what if I get to live on each continent every time that I die? You know, I live in China 1 year, and I live in this one. Then I always think like, man, I would not want to be a girl in any of these lives, you know. What is it? No offense to women, you know. I think women are queens, you know. You know, you got power in different ways, but you know, I just like being a man, you know.
I understand.
But anyways, when you guys die and come back to the next life, tell me a little bit more about that. Do you come back to the same country that you died in, or
you don't control it? You can have very different lives. I don't know if I was like.
Would you always be the same gender?
No. You're not the same gender, you don't look the same, not the same ethnicity, your lives are very different.
Like, one life you probably was poor, another life you probably
rich. I was probably a nice poor person, because, like I said, I'm living pretty good right now. You never know. And hopefully my next, I don't know if I'm going to go to heaven, but hopefully if I do reincarnate, then I hope that I would live a good life. But I wouldn't know. I'm never going to know.
You never come back as an animal or anything like this? Is that possible?
I don't know, because I have read that it's possible, but that might also be false. My parents have never said anything about that.
Okay.
They've always focused on, like, human lives. So.
Yeah, I always just thought about karma, you know, as you do good to somebody now, you know, somebody else do good back to you later, you know. Like, from a Christian perspective, it's like planting seeds and our principles, you know, treat others how you want to be treated.
Yeah.
You know, love your neighbor as you love yourself, but you gotta love yourself first and things like this. You know, you sow into something, you know, this grows and it comes back to you.
Yeah. No, for us, karma is a little bit more long term.
Okay, so we stole this word karma and we just use it our own way. All right, what goes around comes around. You beat up somebody, one day you get beat up.
Well, it is like, I mean, you might use it in a different way, but it's honestly the same thing. It's just, you know how the saying is like, treat others how you want to be treated. Just do that for the rest of your life, you know? That's how we think about it.
What do you think happens to other people who do not accept Hinduism?
There's nothing in the scripture, I believe, that says anything like they go to hell or something. So.
Is there hell in Hinduism? Or just you do bad?
I would think you would end up with, you keep doing bad, you stay in the loop. You don't really have, I don't think we have a hell. It's just you might have a really shitty next life, you know? You're living your personal hell until you die. So you gotta make up for it. Your soul has to make up for you to get into heaven.
Okay, blending back in your things. How do you stay Hinduism or Hindus?
I think the fact that I also chose to be religious helps, because it's like semi-new to me. So I choose to practice it, choose to pray. But I would say, and maybe this is the wrong way to look at it, but because I get confirmation that there is a God all the time. Because whenever I have a shitty situation, I'm able to get out of it. I'm able to overcome things. That's just confirmation for me God exists. That's enough for me. That's how I'm going to continue living. Of course, could be I would have a very, very, very bad situation and I don't get out of it properly. Could be that I feel less confirmation that there is a God, and maybe that would affect how I practice my religion. But for now, I know there's nothing that could stop me from being religious.
Okay. You asked me this question, faith in the future. How do you see your faith in the future?
For me personally, I would say I aim to be more religious and more charitable. I think that's what's missing from me, is that I'm charitable. I would say I am charitable to my friends and family, but no one else. I would hope that I would be more charitable and more giving to people that I don't even know.
Do you guys give to a Hindu temple or anything like that?
Yeah.
You pay taxes to the temple?
No, you don't pay taxes to the temple. You give like donations. There's like one big temple in Helsinki.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what my parents give there, but if they visit, then they give. But it's more about, like, for example, in India, it's way easier to give to like temples, people who run the temples and stuff, because you visit there often. But here, don't really visit that often. You don't go to a place. Like for you can go to church, but I don't really go to a place, so it's less easy to give.
This is a different side of things, and I don't think it's disrespectful, but like, do you see like any I forgot how to say the word that I wanted to say. Do you see any like dirty stuff that happened in like Hinduism, as far as like shady stuff with like the faith, and they use it some people use it in a negative way?
Like exploit the religion?
You know, it was a different word that I had in my head. I just can't think of the word right now. But it's just like, you know how like the Crusaders, you know, those Catholic people who waged war to fight off the Muslims and other people, and so they didn't want black people reading the Bible because they didn't know their worth. You know, do you see anything, bad things like that? People use Hinduism to control other people.
I don't think people use the teachings of Hinduism wrong, but in India, I know of this, that a lot of fake priests, or they are priests, but they are bad people. They exploit the hell out of people, like money-wise. They take their money, they say, oh, just pray for this and give me like a lot of money so I can pray for it too, and then it'll happen. Never happens. Because that's not religion, that's not real praying. So I know there are people who exploit vulnerable people who are just looking for God, who are just looking for an answer or want a quick fix or whatever. And I know that there are people, there's like many movies made about this as well, like Indian movies, about how religion can become a business, and it shouldn't be an enterprise. I would say that.
Yeah, for sure. Like, we can look at history and see that. I mean, I don't know about your religion, but you know, the big ones like Christianity and Islam, you see that people use it in the wrong way.
Yeah.
You know, they take advantage of people, you know, get people to do this and promise you some rewards in heaven, you know. You know, at the end of the day, you gotta trust God, you know, to get through situations.
That's true.
But we're speaking about the future of religion. Would you be open to another religion?
Right now, no. But in my past, I have thought about converting to Christianity. For
that shady look.
No, but it was for like for an ex-boyfriend. I think what I was thinking was it would be way easier to have children like that, because then you're raised in a single religious household. And you know, my mom, for example, she loves Christianity. Like whenever she goes abroad, she loves visiting churches, especially like is it the Catholic ones where you light a candle?
Yeah, the Catholics do that.
She loves them. So I also joined her. So I would say like it has been part of my life at some point. I have thought about converting.
Yeah.
But it would be wrong for me to convert for another person. That's why I didn't. But now I know that I am very comfortable in mine.
Yeah, you shouldn't convert religions for another person.
No, you should never do that.
Again, it's gonna be God drawing you to Him. I believe, as Scripture says, you draw near to God, He draw near to you. And I'm gonna be praying for you and your mom. I think you gotta be Team Jesus.
I don't know about that.
I'm gonna be praying for you.
Okay, thank you.
But you have any other questions for me about my faith?
I don't know about questions, but I had a statement.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I mean, we talked about this before. Like, there are not a lot of practicing religious people that we know around us.
No, but as I said, like I met a nice little community of people now.
Yeah.
And I would say so, but before, to be honest, a lot in Europe, you know, it's more like a culture thing. You know, Spain, the Catholics and Latino people the same way. Even when I meet some Muslim people, to them it's just the same like how I seen some of my family members that just go for Ramadan and, you know, pray. Only during that time they don't pray outside of other, you know, times.
Yeah. Because I was going to just say, like, I think it is very good on us that we do choose to stay... oh, my God. Stay religious.
What was that?
It was like a thumb.
Yeah.
To stay religious when people around us aren't necessarily.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's... If you ever read, like, the Old Testament stories... you know, that they have, the Jewish people have in the Torah, you know, you see like how, you know, Job is one person, you know, to being steadfast. What I mean by that is like he never stopped believing in God, and, you know, God teaches us, you know, even Jesus, he says the same thing as well. You know, we call to be different. So we need to continue to practice our faith, even though those around us are probably not doing it, and standing up for our faith, like the Old Testament story, like, you know, Joseph, and there was 3 guys named Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, you know, they stood up for their faith. And some guy named Daniel was thrown in the lion's den.
I know a Daniel.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know that Daniel too. Well, I don't know him personally.
We know that Daniel.
Yeah, we know that Daniel. But, standing up for your faith. So.
Yeah, that's true.
So I mean, I think there's some similarities, you know, when it comes to like, you know, our faith and practicing. I think, you know, we worship, you know, God.
I think charity is big on both of our ends.
Yeah, for sure. You know, give to those in need.
Yeah.
And, you know, what do you think, like, how is religion or your faith has made you, give you like a different perspective on life, you know, as far as like how you do things, how you go about certain situations in life?
That's a really good question. I would say I'm less sad, honestly. And bad situations are less worse, if that makes sense. Because I don't look at it like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. Like, this is it.
Yeah.
I never look at things like that. Like, it's just the worst of the worst. And I think, well, maybe because I was younger, I was more dramatic. But before I used to be like, this is the worst thing that could happen to me. But now I never think like that. So I would say I'm just more positive as a person. Maybe because I'm just trusting of someone other than me. Yeah. I would say that.
Yeah.
What about you?
I understand you. You know, I mean, I just see, you know, just different perspective in like politics, how I want to protect my family, how I see my future, you know, the decisions that I make. And, you know, like one thing I would say is like 2 verses. Maybe I got time to do both, but I'll just do one for right now. When I came back to like wanted to seek after God, I spoke with my pastor, and he told me about a Bible verse that's in Psalms. It says, "The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way," which pretty much means like, if you be a good man or a good woman, you're going to enjoy your life. And I just think about that. And if, you know, connected to it, I'm not going to read the rest of the verse, but it's just like, if you don't be a good man or a good woman, you're not going to enjoy your life. And if you are a good man or good woman, that God He organizes the steps of your life, so you don't have to worry about
Yeah.
which door I want to go through. God is like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You know, just go through the door, and God is going to put you on the path
Yeah.
that you're supposed to go on. So I just always think about that. Then the other verse that I think about is that, I mean, it's King James Version, so I'm going to say it like this and then explain it in normal English. But he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption, but he that soweth to the Spirit shall have life everlasting. So pretty much if you sow to your flesh, which is doing the things that you want to do, satisfy your flesh, like, oh, I want to drink and get drunk, or I just want to have sex with all these different girls and things like this. Like, think about all the things that get connected to it. You know, you probably get a lie if you want to get all these different girls. You got to do all these different things. Something might come back on you. You know, your life is going to be just so filled with just these temporary things. But if you sow to your spirit and want to follow God's commandment, your life is going to be blessed because you're being a good man and a good woman, because you're living by the standards that God has for you.
That makes a lot of sense.
I'm preaching.
You are. So you believe in God's plan?
For sure.
Me too. Says it right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have it on my fridge.
yeah.
Good. That's another thing we can agree on in our religions.
Yeah, that God has a plan for us.
Yeah. But I like that we do have like differences in our religions, kind of big ones. Mainly that I have many gods, you have one. But I'm very happy that we are able to have like a civil conversation about it. And that we don't like, what's the word, like belittle each other's
For sure.
religions.
I wouldn't do that. Just, I'm going to be praying for you. And I'm gonna,
Thank you for praying.
I'm going to send you some more verses.
Yeah, you've been sending those. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Oh my
I think,
God.
I think we can wrap it up for now.
Yeah.
And if you guys find any value or have any questions about our faith, write them down in the comments below.
Yes.
It's your boy Jello Juice.
And Ishya.
Take care.
Bye.
I'm on strong, I gotta give it a go, yeah. I gotta grind, working for money in the door, yeah, yeah.